So Franklin's life really did turn upside down after he told Teddy he was out of the game. Now he thought the weight of the world was off his shoulders, and even he was talking about getting married to Veronique. But little did he know his life was about to turn into chaos, with fault lines, cracks, earthquakes, and him declaring a war on everyone. Now, there will always be a few ways to hurt someone. All you need to do is find their thumbscrew, and one way to hurt Franklin is to target his money. But this wasn't like the last stash that was taken. This was every single dollar Franklin Saint owned, which was 73 million. And this was the moment he knew Teddy screwed him, because he was also sky high in debt. In fact, he owed more money than he had assets. And on the other side, we had Teddy, who was happy to give the 73 million as a donation. Now, Franklin is someone who you never want to cross, and even he warned Louie in episode 3, but again when he put a gun to her head in episode 10.
Nothing tears a family apart like money.
And it really is true, nothing does tear a family apart like money. And this is what we were seeing with Franklin, taking everything he could from Louie and Jerome, along with Manboy's prophecy coming true. But elsewhere, Uncle Jerome definitely thought for a split second about what they'd just done, but went along with Louie's vision. Avi fought his last war, Gustavo was arrested, Parissa was taken, and with Franklin on the cusp of losing everything and everyone, he told Kane it was Louie responsible for putting him in this position, knowing what it would start. But as usual, we're gonna run through everything in this review and recap. But let's start with Franklin and Veronique planning for their future, because Franklin really did think he was out of the game, and for the first time we saw a stress-free and a Franklin Saint who thought he lived up to his promise of leaving the drug game. And just like Uncle Jerome and Louie, he also wanted to get married. But this really was short-lived, because then he found out his money was all gone, and he knew it was Teddy because he wasn't returning any of his calls or pages. And if anybody had any doubt, it was Teddy. This was also confirmation, because he told his boss he ran into 73 million, which would fund the rest of the war in Nicaragua, and he was also happy to make a sizable donation to the CIA. But where Teddy was planning on spending Franklin's money, Franklin was out to get answers. We had Cissy who was trying to get hold of Ruben. So let's talk about Ruben, Avi, and Gustavo's story, and then we're going to come back around to Franklin's money and his war. Now, at the end of episode 9, Ruben was caught by Avi snooping around his documents and his warehouse full of guns. Now, Avi is someone who's been in the game for years, and he knows not to put the launch codes where the keys are, so Ruben really had nothing. But Avi told Ruben he had no ties to anyone, whether it was the United States, Teddy, or Franklin, and that's because he goes from war to war, always fighting the next battle, but he did give him what he wants in exchange for his freedom. So we saw Ruben finding the information that Teddy was looking for, which was the files full of shipments, orders, and payments, which would connect to the main man at the center of it all, and that was Teddy McDonald. And ironically, Ruben and Teddy were just on the other side of the staircase from each other, and where Ruben knows who Teddy is, Teddy doesn't know about Ruben, and now he knows he's in trouble because Parissa was caught in the middle, and when Teddy came back, she was gone. But now Ruben got what he needed. There was no need for Avi, and I'm sure we could all see what was coming because there was no way he would let Avi live, and this really was a sad death. Because rewinding it back to the very beginning of Snowfall, Avi was the one who actually gave Franklin his first brick. And in essence, if it wasn't for Avi believing in Franklin, then we wouldn't be seeing the Franklin Saint we are at this moment in time. Now with Gustavo, he knows very well he couldn't trust Teddy, but little did he know there was also a planted recording device in his house, which is why he planned to leave with his wife and kids. But was it Teddy who had the bug in his house, or could it have been Ruben? That's the question. Because you could see why he initially thought it was Teddy, because he knew he was spying on Franklin. Now either way, Gustavo was smart because in essence, he said fuck the banks, because of what happened to Franklin, and he had his cash stored in a unit. But as we saw him packing his cash, this really did look orchestrated where the police were just waiting for Gustavo, because they struck at the exact moment, and everything really was falling apart, not just for Franklin, but for everybody around him, with Avi being killed, to Gustavo being arrested, and Parissa being taken. But what is next for Gustavo, because he has a wife and kids? So could he snitch on Teddy? It is a dangerous move, but what other choice does he have in this situation? Now of course, there is also Ruben's angle, because he did mention in episode 9, he had people on both Avi and Gustavo after the wedding. So we need to wait until season 6 to see the fallout from Avi's death, as well as Gustavo being arrested. But let's come back to Franklin's money troubles, because he was confused and baffled how 73 million could vanish into thin air. So he went straight to Avi's because he was someone who helped him set up his Panama accounts, but Avi's place was burned. So we saw Franklin finally get in touch with Teddy, telling him he made a mistake and he wanted back in, but it was just way too late because Teddy got what he needed from Franklin, so he was done. But Franklin told him he couldn't trust Louie, but Teddy's response was, what about Alton and how he went to the press? But this is the game of chess I was referring to all season between Franklin and Teddy. It really is impossible to win against someone like Teddy, because the only way to beat Teddy is to burn the whole motherfucker to the ground. But what will the consequences be if he does? Now Gustavo also warned Franklin the same. He really can't win against someone like Teddy, and if he gave him Teddy's location, he'll know it was Gustavo who is the rat. So Franklin really was back to square one with Veronique telling him he owes more than he has. And then we really did see Franklin go into this rage and smashing his entire office. But this also forced Franklin's hand, because if Gustavo wasn't willing to give him Teddy's location, he really had no choice but to try and go through Louie. So coming to Louie and Franklin's conversation, he told her how Teddy stole his money, so the next time Louie did a deal, he wanted to know where and when. But Louie wasn't bowing down to Franklin because she was the boss, and now they connect to Teddy. But she should have heard the warning loud and clear, because if Teddy was capable of stealing 73 million from Franklin's accounts, then what was he gonna do to Louie and Jerome after he didn't need them anymore? But Franklin was done playing regardless of whether Louie was family or not. But Louie also played her card with Officer Buckley coming behind Franklin. But out of respect for Jerome, she let Franklin walk away. But now it was Louie's turn to warn Franklin. She said the next time she sees him, she's gonna kill him. So the gloves were about to come off for Franklin Sane, and he even warned Veronique if she wanted to move, she can. But she said she was gonna fight with him. But who did Veronique call when she said she could use their help? I wonder if she called her mom, because where she mentioned her earlier on in the season, I don't think she mentioned she was dead. So this is something I'm sure we're gonna pick up with in season 6. But with the gloves coming off, we saw Franklin with Diamond and Dallas rob Louie's club and stash house, killing anyone in their way. And this really was Franklin Sane on his warpath, which ended up with him at the hospital coming to see Kane, to really make shit go from bad to worse for Louie. So we heard him telling Kane it was Louie, and this was him going for Louie without him having to get his hands dirty. But who gets caught in the middle of Louie and Franklin's war is Jerome, because even though Franklin is his nephew, we've seen him be loyal to Louie. But Franklin really did make a monster move, hitting Louie's cash houses and stirring things up with Kane, because now Louie won't be able to pay Teddy, and she'll also have to deal with a gang war, where I'm sure she'll need more than just Officer Buckley to deal with Kane's crew. So it really does set up everything nicely for season 6, because everybody's got problems. Teddy's been banned with Parissa being taken, and also with the files containing all his shipments, payments, and all the key details for his dealings. Gustavo's also been arrested. Louie's been hit in more ways than one. Franklin's also declared war on everyone who gets in his way, and now this family really is broken, with Alton and Louie turning on Franklin, Cissy working with Ruben behind Franklin's back. Leon is now out of the game, and he made his feelings clear when he was talking to Einstein and everybody else at the projects that shit will start to change after the elections, and they needed to find a way out of the game. And Leon really has done a complete U-turn, because he once told Franklin the projects is his home, and this is his people. But now, not only does he want out of the game, he wants to build and go legit. But whether he leaves with Wanda, let's wait and see. But finishing on Franklin and Cissy's conversation at the end, Franklin said he really tried to fix things, but it was too late. Louie put things in motion which had a ripple effect, with Franklin's money being taken by Teddy. But with Franklin wanting to bring Teddy down, Cissy has a way, because we all know she's been working with Ruben from the beginning of season 5, and she knows he's from the KGB. So Franklin really is ready to fight fire with fire and burn this whole motherfucker to the ground. So with that being said, this concludes season 5 of Snowfall, and it really does set up an all-out war in season 6, with everyone losing something in episode 10, so the stakes will be even higher in season 6. So drop all your thoughts down below in the comment section, and of course if you are new to the channel and you haven't done so already, then remember to smash the subscribe button if you want to see everything Snowfall and Power Universe related. But as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.